Hey guys, I wanted to make a video about the new patch changes because they finally, stopped putting the patch notes out since the patch is pretty close now. I want to talk about kind of break things up a little bit more than usual, make them a bit shorter videos. All I'm going to be talking about here is a general tree and some things people might not have noticed if you're not actively looking at the notes and really analyzing things. So the two major changes that everybody knows about is the removal of Rune of Power and this new talent called Ice Cold. First off, removal of Rune of Power. Amazing change, right? We're finally going to be free from our movement. They've compensated our damage by 15% instead, all around. This tended to be a DPS increase for most of our specs overall, obviously alongside with other changes. Arcane did lose a little bit of damage though, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Incantus Flow might seem a little weird, but don't worry, it has been nerfed to make it so that it's not as extreme. And because it's weaker, we're never going to play around it. Not that we did play around it in previous iterations. But you can safely ignore this. You're never going to blame your parts from this unless you're coping. As for the new talent, Ice Cold, which is very, very, very powerful, this is one I'm really looking forward to. When you talent into this, basically Ice Block just changes to a different ability. It is no longer an immunity, but instead it's a 70% damage reduction for 6 seconds. Now you might think that's not a great swap, but what makes it really good is that it actually makes it so that you can cast you can cast during Ice Block or Ice Cold. It's off global cooldown. You can do everything you want. To give you a visual example, like I'm casting. Obviously I can't cast a mid cast, but as soon as it's done, it's off global. I can cast and throw in an Ice Close. 70%, right? And what makes it even extra powerful is when you take Cryo Freeze. Because during Ice Block, you're also going to heal for 80% of your HP during those 7 seconds. So this spell makes you immortal, essentially, right? Now you might think, well, what an amazing ability, surely this has a 5-minute cooldown. Nope. 3 minutes when you talent into it, and with shifting power it'll go down to 2.5, which in my opinion puts this as probably the most powerful cooldown in the game, defensively. It is incredibly strong. Obviously the heal is a little bit overkill, but even without the heal, everything else is amazing, right? This is more than comparable to most of the wall abilities in the game because the damage reduction is higher despite the duration being lower. But yeah, with the heal and everything, it's insane. Some of the other changes people might not have noticed are to do with some of them good, some of them bad, right? So the first thing is Incantation of Swiftness now makes our Greater Invis give us a movement speed instead of just invisibility. Unfortunately, when you talent into Greater Invis, regular Invis goes away. This was intended to be the beginning of Dragonflight, but they just forgot or something, so they finally fixed that. Not my favorite change, but it's okay. If you talent into it 2 times, obviously it becomes 80%. Something that a lot of people have also slept on is actually this talent here. So Diverted Energy has been quite weak for the entire expansion, but they actually buffed it to be healing a lot more. So if you take a look at the notes here on the right hand side, Diverted Energy used to be a 10/20% of your shield gives you the heal. Now it's 20/40%. So, your barrier scales off your HP. I believe it's 20% of your health bar. So now when you pop up your blazing barrier, let's say 126k, you're going to heal 60k or 50k off of the shield whenever it's consumed, which is quite a lot. That's what, a third of a health stone? So if you're popping barrier on cooldown, every minute and a half you're getting a free health stone or health pot or whatever. Very, very powerful. Slept on, I would even say. Um, Other things are they increased the cooldown reduction of Blink Shimmer talent. You'll see I don't have it talented right now because I'm obviously playing Ice Flows, and when you're playing Ice Flows, you're never gonna play Blink. You're never gonna press Blink rather, or not really at least. Some of the other major changes, I've already hovered over this. The ice block reduction is better now. It used to be 20/40, now it's 30/60. A lot of our 2-point nodes here at the bottom, so for example like accumulative shielding, have also been buffed because they used to give us 2 points and it used to reduce the cooldown by 20%, I believe it was. Let's see, I'm sure it's on the right hand side here. Accumulative shielding, yeah. Was a 2-point node and now recharges 30% faster while the shield persists at rank 1. So I guess maybe it was always 30%, but it was 2 points, so now you just save a point, right? Which is great. But we also get Mass Barrier, Mass Invis, which are amazing M plus tools. Mass Invis is basically like Shroud, right? It's a little worse than Shroud because you don't get the movement speed and from Roar that people oftentimes combine with it. But hey, we have a Shroud, and it's only 5-minute cooldown. That's probably reduces shifting power, so even better than Shroud. We also have Mass Barrier, which gives barrier to our allies. Could be good for raid, could be good for dungeons, quite powerful. It's a bit unclear how these interact with things like diverted energy and like improved mage barrier on the arcane side, but we're kind of just gonna have to see how it goes. Something else that also has gone unnoticed, which is quite powerful actually if you end up playing Shimmer, is Displacement. When you press Displacement, you now heal for 110k. So when you're playing Shimmer, what oftentimes you can do if you're really desperate for a heal, and you're like having excess shimmer charges, you can always shimmer and displace for a 1 global cooldown 110k heal. This is quite potent for a 45-second cooldown. Quite potent. Definitely do not sleep on this. It can definitely make a big difference if you like really get used to it. The downside is unfortunately you will have to play shimmer to make it 1 global cooldown. But if you don't play shimmer and you play blink, you can still do it. It just costs an extra global. Those are the main changes I want to talk about for this side of the tree. So I hope that's helped. A lot of our other towns have probably received some minor things. I don't think many of them have. In terms of general tree, I suppose this is my general setup that I expect to run. Just to kind of go over it real quickly. Main DPS stuff here. Ice block reduction because ice cold. Cryo freeze for this. There's probably merit to removing 1 point because 80% is overkill and maybe only 4% HP, and then you could put that point anywhere else. I don't take incantation of swiftness anymore because you don't have regular invis, so you can reattribute points elsewhere. I obviously have 2 diverted energy which you can attribute to other things. I don't have double blink reduction rights because I'm playing ice flows. I don't care about blink at all. Yeah, and this is kind of the main stuff. In terms of floater points, obviously mass barrier or mass invis can be removed for something else. Diverted energy can be removed. At 1 point in cryo freeze, like I said, can be removed. Even ice nova can be removed. Competitive options are really like tempest barrier, right? Like it's something. If you're playing shimmer, at least especially, is very powerful because it's 6% of your HP every time. Yeah, it's quite decent. I wonder if that interacts with diverted energy. I'm actually not entirely sure. Could be interesting though. Incantation of Swiftness, like I said, if you need Spell Steal or Decurse, you can grab those. Never take this. This is garbage. There's like very niche situations maybe, but yeah. Ring of Frost if you need. Energized Barrier if you need to remove slows on you, which sometimes does happen for sure. And as I've already said, these 2 points here. Unfortunately, this is a 3-point investment, but if you're playing Shimmer, you're always going to want to take these 2 anyway. But yeah, that's pretty much all I want to talk about for this. Hope this has helped. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.